Hey, Ram Man. Hey, Mr. Ram Man. Hey, wanna go ramming tonight? You know it. Nothing sexual, though. Damn it!
I'm in love with a hero. I'm in love with the one who will.
Yes, boys and girls, children of all ages, I have Ultimate Ram Man from the Masters Universe Classics line. He is one of the first to be released from the Super 7. And even though he is virtually identical to the previous Ram Man that came out from the Classics toy line, he does have a different paint app. In fact, his paint app is very similar to what the card art looked like back in the 1980s. Can we appreciate how beautiful this packaging looks? This just looks like a slightly larger version of the original 1980s Masters Universe toy line. He is the heroic human battering ram. Even the back has an action sequence taking place. It was very reminiscent from the 1980s. Use the iron-like body of Ram Man as a battering ram. I find it adorable that we have a description showing how you remove the head so you can put on his alternate head. You get to see some of the other figures that are also available, or were available, or will be available very soon. From the first 5 that came out from the Super 7 for the Ultimate Edition, I only got Ram Man and Faker. These two are the only two that I really wanted, although the others I've seen are really cool looking.
Oh my god, look at Lodar there. I want him for other reasons that I won't go into right now.
I almost feel bad about opening this guy up. The packaging and the card art is so beautiful, but I will do it anyway because, you know what? I do want to open up my figures and I like to actually hold them in my hands. So let's get to it. Oh my god, this guy is awesome. All of the Ultimate figures are coming in with card art that looks like it has imaginary mini-comics. But this is really cool. I would love to see new mini-comics showing some of these stories that would be taking place. In this instance, it's Merman meets Ram Man. On the back of this, we also have a bio for Ram Man and a continuation of the classic storyline. Some people like this, some people don't like it. Everyone has their own personal preferences. Personally, though, I really like this story and I like the imagination of keeping all of these different continuities together in the classics form. By the way, this is done by Scrollos. Although one thing I really do like about this classic story is it does give an explanation as to why Ram Man put on his orange tunic again. Before I put this to the side, I just want to point out the manuscript above and Jason Moore and Val Staples. So let's look at Ram Man himself. He comes with an alternate head, which I'll put that on the body itself so you can see what it looks like. I don't need glasses. You need glasses. I'm not squinting. Then he also comes with his battle axe, which goes into his hand pretty darn easily. Seriously, I'm not squinting. I don't know if you can tell or not. The armor that's put on his shoulders is slightly off. You can see the center portion right here should be going down the orange tunic area, but it's just a bit off there. I'm pretty sure it can be fixed. I just got to go through the effort of doing it. I don't know whether or not I will or not. I'll probably just leave it as is. When I first saw Ram Man, I thought he was a villain, more so just because of his skull belt buckle. Also in the mini-comic, when he first appears, he takes on He-Man head-on, no pun intended. I know it's not the case. When you look at his boots, it almost looks like he's got a bunch of pouches going around it. He's got these gray bracers on. The original 1980s toy had like an aluminum foil that was wrapped around it, and for a lot of people out there, that foil would come off. I'm glad that this is a paint app instead. On the back, he's got a convenient spot so that you can put the axe in case you didn't want to put it in his hand. I mean, I actually put it a little bit further down to this point, and it holds it fairly nicely. Good view from the side. Holy hell, his arms are fracking huge. Even the detail underneath his feet are pretty darn awesome. Look, you can see the skull again. The cartoon made it seem as though he had springy legs, which I guess is why it looks like he has hoops inside of his pants. Although if you look close, it does almost look like it's armor as well. The detail put into this is amazing. Even his fist, I mean, you can see his fingernails fairly well, which you can see the detail in the smaller figures as well, but still, I'm just amazed by it. The original 1980s figure had very limited articulation. Other than pushing in the legs for the spring action, his arms were the only things that really did any movement, and even those were really limited. The 2000 series Ram Man that came out had a bit more articulation, but even still, that one didn't have a whole lot either. I am so happy that that's been fixed with the Classics Ultimate line. Let's go through that real quick. First, he has movement in his head, upper body movement, waist movement, upper arm movement, bicep movement, elbow movement. He can move his wrists, upper leg movement. It takes a little effort, but he has knee movement, boot movement, and ankle movement. Take off his head, it takes a little bit of effort, and then you pop on the new head, and then bam, bada bing. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of this one. I know we saw this head in the 2000 series, but still, it wasn't my particular favorite to see that he was still wearing some sort of metal cap. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it on like this. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Classics version that came out. Like I said, they're pretty much the same figure with the exception of their paint being different. If you look really close, you can see the red version has much more of a metallic feel to it, whereas the orange one has a much more dull-looking gray. Same thing with the belts as well. Also, the red one has black that's in it. The orange one also has red legs, whereas the red one has green legs. And we have brown boots as opposed to the black boots. The brown boots also have their buckles colored in. You can see the buckles colored in with the tunics as well. And if you look at their armors, the red one does have the armor glued on a bit more evenly, whereas here you can see the orange one where the armor is not. It's like off. It's something that's going to probably bug me for a bit. And even though it isn't really much of a comparison, I figured I'd show the 1980s figure that came out, along with one of the versions that came out from the 2000 series. Just for size and comparison purposes, I pulled out Giggity, both Adora and Prince Adam, just so you can see how much more mass Ram Man has in comparison to most of the other figures that have come out from the Classics/Ultimates toy line. So there's really not a whole lot more I can say about this figure, other than his armor being glued on slightly off. I think he came out great. In fact, I'm really happy with him. If you're interested in getting him, you will have to go through a third-party vendor, but you can always check Super7Store.com to see some of their updates and upcoming Masters Universe figures that they will be releasing. They have updates all the time. Anyways, though, I'm just kind of babbling at this point. Thank you guys for watching me in this video. Check out some of my other videos. Check out my Patreon site, my social media sites, my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, and my stand. I'll see you guys later. Peace. There are so many obvious homoerotic overtones in the Masters Universe series. I mean, the main protagonist himself, He-Man, runs around with a leather harness. Having other characters like Ram Man or Fisto show up, that just perpetuates it so much more. As a kid, I never saw it. As an adult, it's so much right there in your face.